Mhm. All right, deputies, are you ready?
We ready?
Mhm. All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Judge Marcus Thorpe. I'm one of the associate magistrate judges here in Clayton County. It is 11 a.m., and this is your first appearance calendar this morning. If you all have trouble hearing me, please let me know, not only here in the beginning, but also during the course of this morning's proceedings, as there are a few things that I will go over with you prior to starting and during the calendar. Please listen carefully, as it will help you better understand the nature and purpose of today's proceeding. First, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm going to say this several times today, I am not here to try your case. That means that please do not talk to me about the facts of your case and why you believe that you are innocent or not guilty of what the police allege you have done. I'm not here to take a plea or have any sort of legal discussion about your case. The purpose of today's hearing is to inform you of the charges against you, advise you of your certain rights, to set bond on those charges that I can set bond on, to schedule a preliminary hearing if you would like one, and then to determine whether you require the assistance of an attorney if you qualify. Now, ladies and gentlemen, you have the right to remain silent today during these proceedings. Please do not attempt again to tell me anything about your case or defenses you have, because this is being streamed live and it's recorded. And obviously, there are people around you that you make subject to being a witness in your case if you say certain things to me. Now, during this proceeding and all other proceedings, you have a right to, as I mentioned, silence. You have a right to the presumption of innocence. You have the right to an indictment by a grand jury for felonies or by accusation for misdemeanors. You have a right to a speedy and public trial by jury. You have the right to compel the attendance of witnesses to testify on your behalf. You have the right to see, hear, and question witnesses who are called to testify against you. You have the right to testify on your own behalf or offer evidence in your own defense. And you have the right to an attorney to represent you. Now, ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned, I'm going to talk to you all about what you've been charged with and about your bond. Some of you will be allowed to post unrestricted bonds for your release from jail while your case is proceeding. There are three ways that you can bond out of jail while your case is ongoing. You can pay your bond in full, would be the first way. The example would be if I tell you that your bond is $6,000 and that you've been charged with a family violence today, you could, or someone you know, bring $6,000 plus any fees that the sheriff charges you up to the sheriff's office, and the sheriff will hold on to the 6,000 and the fees until your case is closed, and then the money will be returned to you. The second way that you can do it would be with a bonding company. Now, a bonding company doesn't require you pay the full amount. They only require you pay 12 to 15% of the bond, but that money will not be returned to you, and they will pay the rest. So in my scenario, if you're charged with family violence, you go with a bonding company, you'd be responsible for 12 to 15% of 6,000, which is about $750. But again, that money is not returned to you. The final way would be a property bond. So if you or someone you know has three times your bond in equity in the property, so in our example, they'd have to have 18,000 in equity, then they can bring a copy of their deed up to the sheriff. The sheriff will hold it until, again, your case is closed, upon which time it will be returned to you. Now, in addition to your charges as well as your bond, there are some of you that will have special conditions on your bond as well. And that will mean that I'm going to tell you you're to have no contact with the person that you may have alleged to have been involved in this incident with. Or I may tell you to stay away from that person. That means you can't call, text, email, write, or contact them on any social media or in any other way. You can't even do something as nice as write them a song, as that will be a violation of your bond. Now, you may not have a provision that tells you to not speak to someone, but I may also tell you that you're not to return to a particular location. So I may tell you that you're not able to return to a place that you were living before this incident happens. And if I do that, please understand that you're not allowed back unless you go with the sheriff's office, unless you get it modified, or unless your case is closed and resolved. If you choose to go with the sheriff, you have to do so within 10 days of your release. Now, unfortunately, there are some of you who will not listen, and your bond will be revoked. And I need you to understand, ladies and gentlemen, that if your bond is revoked for that particular reason, you can be charged with additional felonies such as influencing a witness, and you can be subject to fines as well as fees up to $20,000 and 20 years in prison. Now, if I tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that you are to stay away from a particular person, a spouse, a family member, or friend, and they are the victim in your case, they are not allowed to come up to the courthouse and post bond for you because, of course, you have a no contact in place with them. Now, there are some of you who are on active felony probation this morning. In those situations, this court is not authorized to set bond at this time. Whether a bond is appropriate in your case will be reconsidered at a later time after your probation officer has had an opportunity to consider this new arrest. Now, ladies and gentlemen, the last thing I want to talk to you all about is a preliminary hearing. If you are charged with a felony, and I tell you this morning you're charged with a felony, that means that you will automatically be given a preliminary hearing date, okay? And a preliminary hearing date is a date where you are present, the judge is present, and your attorney is present, where you all will go over the charges against you and whether you will, your case will move forward to the prosecutor or whether it will be dismissed. Now, if you are charged with misdemeanor, you have the right to a preliminary hearing. It's not guaranteed. You must tell me you want that preliminary hearing. So I will, if you are charged with a misdemeanor, among the things we'll talk about is whether you want that hearing at all, or you say, Judge, I don't want it. Now, again, a preliminary hearing is where you are present, the judge is present, the police are present, and they review your case about whether or not there's enough evidence to move forward. Now, some of you may choose not to have that preliminary hearing, and that's okay, because if you choose not to have that preliminary hearing, your case will move a little faster and it will get to the prosecutor a little quicker. And so for some people, that's important. Now, at this time, ladies and gentlemen, if I could have everyone please raise their right hand so that I may swear you in. Now, ladies and gentlemen, do you swear or affirm that the information that you will provide here this morning during your preliminary hearing, as well as what you've provided on the documents that have been presented to me, is the truth? And if it is, say I do. All right. All right. Good morning, Ms. Daya.
Good morning, Your Honor. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am well, thank you.
My understanding is we do have one gentleman this morning who does require an interpreter. I believe, Deputy, it's a Mr. Daniel Dominguez Torres. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. So, Ms. Day, if you would please go ahead and raise your right hand.
Yes, sir.
Do you swear or affirm the information that you will be provided to this morning that you will properly and appropriately translate from English to Spanish and Spanish to English?
I do.
All right, ma'am. If you would please go ahead and introduce yourself to Mr. Torres.
Buenos días, señor Torres. Mi nombre es Deyanira Bermúdez y yo voy a ser su intérprete en la mañana de hoy.
Sí, gracias.
All right. Good morning, Mr. Torres. My name is Judge Thorpe.
Buenos días, señor Torres. Yo soy el juez Thorpe.
And we are here this morning to advise you of what you've been arrested for and give you a bond on your case.
Y estamos acá para informarles cuáles son los cargos que se le imputan o por qué usted fue arrestado y asignarle una fianza en su caso.
Okay. Now, before we continue, however, sir, I need you to keep in mind not to discuss your case with me, as I am only here to talk about your charges.
Y para proceder, mantenga en cuenta de no hablar de su caso conmigo, porque yo solamente estoy acá para informarle cuáles son sus cargos.
Also, Mr. Torres, please keep in mind you have the right to remain silent.
También, señor Torres, tome en consideración que usted tiene el derecho de permanecer en silencio.
You have the right to an attorney.
Usted tiene el derecho de tener un abogado.
You have the right to have an indictment if it's presented against you for felonies, as well as an accusation for misdemeanors.
Usted tiene el derecho de que se le formule una acusación para los delitos graves y que también se le formule una acusación para los delitos menores.
You have a right to a speedy and public trial by jury.
Usted tiene el derecho de tener un juicio sin demora, público y ante un jurado.
You have the right to compel the attendance of witnesses to testify for you.
Usted tiene el derecho de exigir la presencia de testigos para que testifiquen a su favor.
You have a right to see, hear, and question witnesses who are called to testify against you.
Usted tiene el derecho de ver, escuchar y contrainterrogar a los testigos que sean citados a testificar en su contra.
You have a right to testify on your own behalf or offer evidence in your own defense.
Usted tiene el derecho de atestiguar y de presentar pruebas para ser usadas en su defensa.
If you are not a citizen, please be advised that some of these charges may affect your immigration status, so you may want to speak to an immigration attorney.
Y si usted no es ciudadano estadounidense, se le advierte que algunos de estos cargos podrían afectar su estado migratorio, o sea que a usted se le aconseja consultar con un abogado.
Now, I'm going to also talk to you about giving you a bond this morning.
Yo también voy a hablar con usted con respecto a asignarle una fianza en la mañana de hoy.
And if you would like to bond out while your case is pending, there are 3 ways to do it.
Y si usted quiere pagar su fianza y salir mientras su caso queda pendiente, hay 3 maneras de hacerlo.
You may bond out by paying the full amount in cash.
Usted puede pagar su fianza y salir pagando la cantidad total de su fianza en efectivo.
And after your case is closed, the sheriff will return it to you.
Y después que el caso se cierre, la oficina del sheriff le devolvería ese dinero.
The second way would be to use a bonding company that only requires you to pay 12%, but they don't return the money to you.
La segunda forma de hacerlo sería utilizando una compañía de fianza, la cual solamente requiere que usted pague un 12%, pero ese dinero no le sería reembolsado.
And then the final way would be for if you or someone you know owns a piece of property, they may bring the deed to that property down to the sheriff to hold it to allow you to be released until your case is closed.
Y la tercera forma sería si usted o alguien que usted conoce es dueño de una propiedad, ellos le permitirían que usted traiga el título de esta propiedad a la comisaría se quedaría con este título hasta el final de su caso y luego le devuelto.
Now, for your type of a case, I am also going to advise you not have contact with the person that is alleged to have been involved in your incident.
Y para el tipo de su caso, yo también tengo que informarle que no tenga ningún tipo de contacto con la persona que estuvo involucrada en el incidente.
And I am also going to ask that you not return back that piece of property unless your case is closed or your conditions are modified.
Y también le voy a advertir que no regrese a esa propiedad hasta que su caso cierre o las condiciones de su fianza hayan sido modificadas.
It is important that you abide by that so that you are not charged for additional charges in violation of your bond.
Y es importante que usted obedezca estas instrucciones para que usted no se le imputen cargos adicionales por haber violado las condiciones de su fianza.
Now, the last thing that we're going to discuss before we get in, as we get into your charges, will be what's called a preliminary hearing.
Y de lo último que vamos a hablar antes de llegar a lo que son sus cargos es lo que se llama la audiencia preliminar.
Because you are charged with misdemeanors, you have a right to have the hearing or decide not to.
Por el hecho de que a usted se le imputan cargos por delitos menores, usted tiene el derecho de tener la audiencia o de renunciar a la audiencia, o sea, de no tenerla.
The hearing is where you are present, your attorney, and the judge and the police officer.
En esta audiencia es donde usted está presente, su abogado, el juez y el policía.
They are there to determine if there's enough evidence for your case to move forward or to dismiss it.
Y ellos van a estar ahí para determinar si el caso o sus cargos van a ser desestimados o si los cargos van a proceder.
You may choose to have that hearing, or you can tell me, Judge, I do not want it.
Usted puede elegir tener esa audiencia o usted me puede decir, su señoría, yo no quiero tenerla.
And if you choose to tell me you don't want it, it means that your case will move along a little faster.
Y si usted elige que usted no la quiere tener, esto lo que significa es que su caso va a proceder más rápido.
Okay. Are you ready to begin, sir?
¿Está listo para comenzar, señor?
Sí.
Yes.
Okay. All right, sir. You are charged with 1 count of criminal damage in the 2nd degree and 1 count of criminal trespass.
Ok, a usted se le imputa un cargo de daños ilícitos en el segundo grado y un cargo de invasión o daños a la propiedad.
Criminal damage carries a bond of $3,500 and the trespass $1,500.
El cargo de daños ilícitos se le asigna una fianza de 3.500 y al cargo de invasión o daños a la propiedad de 1.500.
Okay. You do have special conditions, and that is to stay away from Miss Ortiz.
Usted sí tiene condiciones especiales y esas condiciones es que se tiene que mantenerse alejado de la señorita Ortiz.
And also to stay away from the address of 1906 Argonne Drive.
Y también que se mantenga alejado de la dirección de 1906 Ogan Drive, Your Honor.
Yes.
Ogan Drive.
Okay. If you were living there before this happened and you make your bond, do not go back to that property unless you ask the sheriff to come with you.
Si usted vivía ahí antes del incidente, no regrese a esta dirección si usted paga su fianza y sale, a menos que usted no sea acompañado por un alguacil.
Do you have any questions about that part?
¿Tiene usted alguna pregunta con respecto a eso?
Todo bien. Estoy-
No.
Okay.
Oh,
Are you
okay.
currently working, sir?
¿Está usted trabajando actualmente, señor?
Sí, así es.
Yes.
Approximately how much money do you make per month?
Aproximadamente, ¿cuánto gana usted por mes?
Me varía un poco, depende de las condiciones del clima, pero como mínimo puedo ganar como hasta 4,000.
It varies depending on the weather, but as a minimum, I'll make around 4,000.
Do you have any children?
¿Tiene usted niños?
Tengo mi hija de 10 años.
I have my daughter who's 10 years old.
So based on that information, sir, if you would like an attorney for your case, you will have to hire your own. I cannot appoint you one this morning.
Basada en esa información, señor, si usted quiere un abogado para su caso, yo no le puedo asignar uno. Usted tendría que contratarse su propio abogado.
Now, lastly, I mentioned to you a preliminary hearing. Would you like me to set the date for a preliminary hearing for you, or would you like to waive that right to that hearing?
Finalmente, yo le hablé con usted de lo que es una audiencia preliminar. ¿Quiere usted que yo le fije la fecha para esa audiencia preliminar o quiere usted renunciar a tener su audiencia preliminar?
Well, my apologies, Mr. Torres. Because you are charged with a felony, I have to give you a preliminary hearing date, which will be May 15th.
Lo siento, señor Torres, por el hecho de que a usted se le acusa o se le imputan cargos por delitos graves. Yo tengo que asignarle la fecha de su audiencia preliminar y esta fecha es el día 15 de mayo.
Okay. So again, I sincerely apologize, but that court date of February 15th is automatically set for you. And the only time you would not have to go is if you make your bond before that court date.
Sencillamente o sinceramente, yo me disculpo. Esa fecha del día 15 de mayo se fija automáticamente para usted y de la única forma que usted no tiene que asistir a esa audiencia es si usted paga su fianza y sale antes del 15 de mayo, o sea, antes de esa fecha.
All right. Do you have any questions of me about anything, sir?
¿Tiene usted alguna pregunta para mí, señor, con respecto a alguna cosa?
Sí, ¿cuánto sería mi bono?
Yes, how much is my bond going to be?
It is a total of $5,000.
Va a ser un total de $5,000.
Y puedo pagar como me dijeron el 12% o quisiera pagar
And,
menos porque no, ahorita no cuento con esa cantidad.
and can I pay, like you say, the 12%? Because I want to pay it, but right now I don't have the full amount.
Yes, sir. You would have to, at that point, use a bonding company to do that.
Sí, señor, en ese momento usted podría usar una compañía de fianzas para hacer eso.
Me gustaría hacerlo y tenían alguna idea de cuánto sería teniendo la compañía. No importa que pierda el dinero, pero sí me gustaría hacerlo porque no cuento.
I would like to do it. And do you have an idea of how much that will be if I use the company? Because I don't mind losing the money.
For you, it would be about $750, sir.
Para usted va a ser alrededor del $750, señor.
Creo que voy a usar una compañía para pagarla porque pues no cuento con todo el dinero completo y pues tengo muchos gastos.
I think I'm going to use a company to pay it because I don't have the full amount and I have a lot of expenses.
Okay. All right, sir. Well, good luck to you.
Okay, señor, buena suerte.
Gracias.
Thank
And-
you.
Deputy, before he leaves, though, I noticed he didn't have a council form filled out. So if we could just have him he doesn't have to fill it out, but at least sign it. And that way I can put that information down. And so when you send over any waivers, you can send that one too.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Gracias, señor.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Day. I believe that's everybody.
Yes, sir. Thank you and have a good day.
All right. You too.
Thank you.
No, I didn't see it.
All right. So that should be our females. So I was going to do, I guess, the ones off of Jots, and then I'll call on Jots if that's okay.
Yes, sir.
So I'm showing first Kenyatta Hoskins, Hoskins.
Yes, sir.
Are you Miss Hoskins?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so Ms. Hoskins, you are charged with one count of drug-related objects, and then you are charged with one count of violation of the Georgia Controlled Substances Act, ma'am. The drug-related objects carries a bond amount of $1,000. The violation of the Drug Controlled Substances Act carries a bond amount of $3,500. So your total bond, ma'am, is $4,500. Do you believe you'll be able to make that bond, ma'am?
Is that the whole amount or a half of it?
That's up to you, either way that you choose.
If I go to the bonding company, how much would it be?
You're looking at probably about $600.
I can do the bonding company.
Okay. Now, I'm looking at, ma'am, the information that you provided here. So based on what you provided, I am going to go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed lawyer here this morning. So you will get a lawyer free of charge to help you on your case, okay?
Okay.
Now, last question I have for you. Because you were charged with a misdemeanor, as I mentioned earlier, you have a right to the preliminary hearing, or I can waive that right and send your case on up to the prosecutor. Would you like to have that hearing, ma'am, or waive that hearing? Well, actually, I apologize, ma'am. Excuse me. You're charged with a felony. The drugs are a felony. So I actually had to set a date for you. So if you don't make your bond by May 15th, your next court date is going to be May 15th, 2024 at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. My apologies. So because one of your charges is a felony, so you're charged with drug-related objects as a misdemeanor, felony drugs, your total bond again is $4,500. And because you were charged again with a felony, if you fail to make your bond, you will have to report to your preliminary hearing on May 15th, okay?
May 15th.
Yes, ma'am. That'll be your next court date if you don't bond out.
And then I do bond out, you said 600?
Yeah, you would have to pay roughly about $600, but the bonding company would tell you the exact amount if and when you were able to contact them.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
All right. Any other questions, ma'am, I can answer for you?
No, that's it.
All right. Thank you, ma'am.
She got signed?
No, she's felony, so she's got a court date set. No sign. Next up should be Sharika Mills, MILLS. And then after Ms. Mills, I have Whitney Rivera. Are you Miss Mills?
Sir.
Ms. Mills, you have one charge of cruelty to animals, ma'am. I did review your criminal history this morning, as well as some other information that we have here about you. And based on that, ma'am, I am going to release you this morning on your own recognizance. And so that means you will be released later today, pending the outcome of this case. So, Ms. Mills, I see here you are not working. Is that correct?
At the moment.
I'm sorry?
Not at the moment.
Okay, so because you are not working at this point, I am gonna go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed lawyer this morning. And so you will have a lawyer free of charge to assist you on your case. Do you understand that, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Now, because you are being released today, that means you are waiving your right to that preliminary hearing. And so before you leave that podium, there's gonna be a piece of paper there that the deputies are gonna hand you. You'll need to sign that piece of paper. And then once you sign that piece of paper, that'll be all we have for you this morning, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Do you have any questions?
No, sir.
All right, good luck to you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do you want to go back in here?
Are you Ms. Rivera?
Yes, I am, sir.
Ms. Rivera, just give me one moment here.
I wasn't able to hear you.
I said, give me one moment, please.
Okay.
All right, so Ms. Rivera here, you were charged with one count of drug-related objects as a misdemeanor and one count of violation of the seatbelt law. I have reviewed your information here this morning, Ms. Rivera, and Ms. Rivera, you are going to be released here this morning. So that's going to happen sometime later today. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Now, because you are being released, ma'am, that does mean that you are waiving your right to that preliminary hearing that I mentioned earlier. So there's going to be a piece of paper that the deputies are going to have you sign. When you sign that piece of paper, ma'am, that'll all be all that we have for you this morning. But I do have one last question, Ms. Rivera. Are you currently working?
No, sir, I'm not.
Okay, so based on that, ma'am, I am going to go ahead. I'm going to appoint you a court-appointed lawyer this morning. So you will get a lawyer free of charge. Do you understand that?
Sir.
And so it will be important that once you are released, ma'am, that you make sure that your last known address is up to date. So wherever we send this mail, they're getting it to you, okay? For you, because you're still gonna get a court date at some point.
Sir.
Do you understand that?
Sir.
All right, ma'am. Do you have any questions of me?
No, sir, I do not.
All right, good luck to you, ma'am.
She's got.
All right. All right, I believe that's all I have for the females in our off box. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Well, deputies, can you all hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Who you need next?
Give me 1 second. I'm going to tell you. I'm logging on to DOTS right now.
You related to that Thomas in there?
All right, so next up, I should have Miss Serena Brown, and then behind her, I have Dayana Drummer, and then Destiny Thomas. So Brown, Drummer, Thomas, in that order. All right, are you Miss Brown?
Yes, sir.
Miss Brown, you are charged with one count here of battery, one count of criminal trespass. Both are family violence, ma'am. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Your bond amount for the battery, ma'am, is $3,500. Your bond amount for the misdemeanor criminal trespass is $1,500. So your total bond, ma'am, is $5,000. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, I understand that you were allegedly involved in an assault with your daughter here. So, ma'am, you do have special conditions. I'm going to ask until you get this modified that you were to have no contact with, I believe her last name is Miss Thomas. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, now that place where this happened, that is your home. Is that correct?
Yes, it's my husband's home.
Okay, so I'm not gonna require that you stay away from there since I'm gonna allow you to remain there, okay? Do you understand, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Now, as I also understand, you are not working, so I am gonna appoint you a court-appointed lawyer this morning. The last thing I need to ask you, Ms. Brown, I spoke earlier about a preliminary hearing. Would you like to have that hearing, Ms. Brown, or waive that hearing?
Waive it, because that speeds it up, right?
Yes, ma'am, that does.
Yes, I want to waive it.
All right, ma'am. So I'm going to show this morning that you are waiving your right to a preliminary hearing. And so based on that, ma'am, the deputies are going to have a piece of paper here this morning for you to sign. And once you sign that paper, ma'am, that's all I've got for you today.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, next up should be Ms. Drummer. And then after Ms. Drummer, I have Destiny Thomas. All right, are you Ms. Drummer?
Yes, sir.
All right, so Ms. Drummer, you are charged with 1 count of criminal trespass, ma'am. I have reviewed the information provided to us this morning, and based on that information, ma'am, you will be released here today. You will have a special condition, however. I need you to understand, Ms. Drummer, that you are to stay away from the alleged incident location, which is 7028 Stevens Drive. Do you understand that? All right, Ms. Stevens, because you are being released, you are waiving your right to that preliminary hearing this morning. And so there is going to be a document that the deputies will have you sign as you are leaving that podium. Do you understand that? Ma'am?
Sir.
Okay. Lastly, Ms. Drummer, I see, are you working right now? I'm sorry?
Sir.
Yes or no? I can't hear you. I'm sorry.
No.
Okay, so since you are not working, I will go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed lawyer this morning, free of charge. So again, you are being released, ma'am. You will have a lawyer upon your release, and you're waiving your right to that preliminary hearing, so you will need to sign that document. Good luck to you, ma'am. Next up should be Miss Destiny Thomas. All right, are you Miss Thomas?
Yes, sir.
All right, so Ms. Thomas, you are charged with 1 count of battery family violence, 1 count of simple battery family violence. The battery family violence carries a bond amount of $3,500, the simple battery $2,500, for a total amount of $6,000. Do you understand that?
You said 3,500 and 2,500?
Yes, ma'am, for a total of $6,000. Now, you will have special conditions, ma'am, and those are to stay away from your mother, Ms. Brown, and to also stay away from the address of 56 Morrison Trail. I understand that you may have been living there before this happened, but if you were, please understand, until your case is resolved or you get this bond modified, that you are to stay away from that address. Okay, do you understand? Ma'am, do you understand? Ms. Thomas, I need a verbal.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so again, if you need to go to that address for any reason whatsoever, and you make this bond, ma'am, then I'll need for you, on your being released, to reach out to the sheriff's office, and then the sheriff's office will go over there with you, and then they will make sure that you are escorted out of there. Do you understand? I need you to give me a verbal, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
All right. Any questions, Ms. Thomas, that I can answer for you about anything?
No, sir.
Okay, so now again, we've gone over your bond. I've given you your special conditions. Let me ask you, Ms. Thomas, are you working right now? Is that a yes or no? Ms. Thomas,
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
are you working right now?
Yeah.
Okay, about how much money are you making per month?
Only about 1,000.
All right, so I am gonna give you a lawyer free of charge, ma'am. Last question I have for you. I mentioned earlier that I talked about what is called a preliminary hearing, okay? You have the right to that preliminary hearing, as I mentioned, or you can waive that preliminary hearing. Now, based on what we talked about thus far, would you like to have that hearing, ma'am, or would you like to waive your right to that preliminary hearing?
Can I ask what a preliminary hearing is?
Yes, ma'am. The preliminary hearing is where you are present, the judge is present, the police officer is present, and everybody discusses your case and determines whether there is enough evidence against you for your case to move forward to the prosecutor. If they determine that there is not enough evidence against you, then your case is dismissed. If they determine that there is enough evidence against you, then your case moves forward to the prosecutor. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so based on that, ma'am, what would you like to do? Would you like me to set that hearing or waive that hearing?
Um,
So here's what I'm gonna do, Ms. Thomas, since I know you have some, you're not quite sure. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna set the hearing date for you as March 14th at 8:30 a.m. and it's gonna be via Zoom. If you make your bond and you end up getting out, Ms. Thomas, that hearing is automatically waived, okay? So the only time you'll have it is if you're still in custody, then they'll give you that hearing and you'll be heard with your attorney present and they'll talk to you about your case, okay? You understand, Ms. Thomas?
yes. If
All
I,
right, so go ahead, ask me the question.
if I, don't make the bond and I still wish not to do it, do I have the option to say no?
At that point, that's a question for your attorney, but typically you do not, ma'am. But I'm gonna leave that question for you to discuss that with your attorney. Okay? Ms. Thomas, okay?
Okay.
Any other questions, ma'am?
No, sir.
All right, good luck to you. All right, Deputy, that should be all of the men, so I'm gonna stay, all the women, so I'm gonna stay on dots. Can I have up first Xavier Armstrong, and then behind him, Casey Christopher and Barrington Chung. So Armstrong, Christopher, and Chung, to be in that order. All right, are you Mr. Armstrong?
Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir. Are you Mr. Armstrong?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Armstrong, you are charged with one count of stalking, sir. Your bond amount is $5,000. You are to stay away from the alleged victim, Miss Arancha Collins, as well as the address of 1114 Sandalwood Court. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir. Is it possible I get a signature bond, sir?
No, sir. It is not. Based on the information, sir, I am gonna go ahead and I'm gonna appoint you a court-appointed lawyer this morning. So you will have a lawyer free of charge. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, the last thing I need to discuss with you is, sir, it looks as if here, well, because you are charged with a misdemeanor, sir, you have a right to a preliminary hearing, or you can waive that right to that preliminary hearing. Which would you prefer to do? Would you like to have that hearing or waive that hearing?
If I don't make my bond, I'd rather have that hearing.
Okay, so I'm gonna show here that you are not waiving your right to that hearing. If you don't make your bond, your court date's gonna be May 14th at 8:30 a.m. Do you understand that via Zoom, just like we are today?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any
Is
other
it possible-
questions? Go ahead.
Is it possible I could do the bond on Zoom?
What do you mean the bond on Zoom?
Like Zoom, like
Everything you do in magistrate court is gonna be via Zoom. Everything is Zoom.
Oh.
Okay,
Okay.
does that
Okay,
answer your
thanks.
question? Yes, sir. Good luck to you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, thank you. All right, should be Mr. Christopher and then Mr. Chung, and then behind that is Raymond Freeman. All right, are you Mr. Christopher?
Sir.
All right, Mr. Christopher, you are charged with one count of simple assault, one count of terroristic threats. The assault carries a bond of $3,500. The terroristic threat carries a bond of $5,000. Your total bond amount is $8,500. You do have special conditions, sir, and that they are to stay away from Danielle Mabry and the address of 3801 Anvil Block Road. Do you understand that, sir? Do you understand that, sir?
Sir.
All right, so right now, sir, because you are charged with misdemeanors, you have a right to a preliminary hearing, or you have a right to waive that preliminary hearing, sir. Would you like to have your hearing, or would you like to waive your hearing? I'm sorry, I can barely hear you, sir.
Speak up, Mr. Chris.
I'm right here, bud. My name is Kate.
Okay. What I'm gonna do, Mr. Christopher, I'm gonna go ahead and set that hearing for you. If you don't make your bond, sir, your next court date is gonna be May 14th at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Do you understand that, Mr. Christopher?
Sir.
Everybody got signed.
All right, and so I'm gonna go ahead and give him a preliminary hearing date. Mr. Christopher, I'm also gonna give you an attorney to help you out, okay?
So much.
Yes, sir. I don't have anything else for you this morning, sir. Good luck for it to you.
So Lord.
Thank you, Mr. Christopher.
Mr.
Be Mr. Chung, then Freeman. All right. Are you Mr. Chung?
Yes, ma'am, sorry.
Mr. Chung, you're charged with 1 count of criminal trespass, sir. Your bond amount is $4,000. You're to stay away from the address of 6142 Old Dixie Road. Do you understand that?
Sir.
Now, according to the information that you provided here, sir, are you currently working?
Oh, sir.
So I am, sir, gonna appoint you a court-appointed lawyer, so you'll have a lawyer free of charge. Do you understand that?
Sir.
Now, lastly, I need to ask you, you have a right to a preliminary hearing, or you have a right to waive that hearing. What would you like to do this morning?
Wave your hand.
All right, sir. So I am gonna go ahead and show that you would like for me to waive your preliminary hearing here this morning. And so because you're waiving your hearing, that does mean the deputy's got a piece of paper there for you to sign. And once you sign that paper, sir, that's all I got for you this morning. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, after Mr. Freeman should be Jeffrey Golfin and Jadarius Gresham. All right, are you Mr. Freeman?
Sir.
All right, so Mr. Freeman, give me one moment here. Okay. All right, so Mr. Freeman, you're charged with 1 count of obstruction of an officer and 1 count of simple battery, sir. The obstruction carries a bond of $2,500. The misdemeanor simple battery carries a bond of $3,500. And so your total bond amount, sir, Mr. Freeman, is $6,000. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir. Is it?
And Deputy, I apologize. I do have Mr. Torres's Dominguez. I have his attorney CAA form here, so I'm filling it out. You don't have to send another one.
All right, thank you.
Okay. So, Mr. Freeman, back to you, sir. So I've advised you $6,000 bond. Yours are misdemeanors. Sir, are you currently working?
No, sir.
All right, so I'm going to give you a lawyer free of charge. The last question I have, sir, is because you are charged with misdemeanors, you have a right to your preliminary hearing, or you can waive your preliminary hearing. Would you like me to set that preliminary hearing or waive it?
All right, yeah, go ahead and say it.
Go ahead and set it. All right, so that next court date, sir, should you not make your bond, is going to be May 14th. It's going to be at 8:30 a.m. and that's going to be via Zoom. Again, it's going to be, say that again, sir?
May 13th, yes, sir.
May 14th. At 8:30 a.m. and that's going to be via Zoom. Okay? You got me?
Sure.
All right. Any questions I can answer for you, sir?
Yes, sir.
All right. Good luck to you. All right. And I believe you are Mr. Is it Golfin? Is that correct?
Sir.
All right. Give me 1 second, Mr. Golfin.
All right.
So, Mr. Golfin, you are charged here with 1 count of public drunk. And Mr. Golfin, I have had a chance to review the information here that you provided to us this morning. And based on the information you provided, sir, I am going to go ahead and release you this morning. My last question to you, sir, are you working right now?
No, I'm a veteran.
Okay. So because you are not working, I am going to appoint you a court-appointed lawyer this morning. Do you understand? Free of charge. I also need to advise you that because you are a veteran, sir, that does mean that you'll likely enter a veterans program that we have here in Clayton County. So you may be contacted about that as well. Do you understand that? All right. Any questions for me, sir?
No, sir.
All right. Good luck to you, sir.
Your Honor, did he waive?
He's been released, so he needs to sign as well.
And then come back.
Next up should be Gresham and then Joe Johnson, and after Johnson should be Jones, Shaquante Jones. Are you Mr. Gresham?
Sorry, yeah.
Mr. Gresham, you are charged with 1 count of simple battery on a law enforcement officer and 1 count of disorderly conduct, both misdemeanors. Your bond on the simple battery is $2,500. On the disorderly conduct, $2,500. Your total bond, therefore, sir, is $5,000. Do you understand that?
Sir, can I get a signature bond?
No, you cannot, sir.
Yes, sir.
Because you are charged with misdemeanor, sir, you do have a right to a preliminary hearing, or you have the right to waive that hearing, sir. What would you like to do this morning? Have that hearing or waive it? I'm sorry?
Waive it.
All right, so I'm going to show here, sir, that you have waived your preliminary hearing. And so because you are choosing to waive your preliminary hearing, there is a document that the deputies will have you sign this morning. Once you sign that document, sir, that's all I have for you this morning. Good luck to you.
Sir.
All right, should be Joe Johnson and then Jaquante Jones. And then after Mr. Jones, Anwar Myers. All right, are you Mr. Johnson?
Sir.
Give me 1 second, Mr. Johnson. So, Mr. Johnson, you have several charges here. The first is the possession with the intent to distribute drug-related objects, possession of marijuana, possession of a legal weapon, possession of a firearm during the commission of a crime, and window tint violation. We're going to go through those bond amounts. The possession with intent carries a bond of $10,000. The drug-related objects, $500. Possession of marijuana, $10,000. Possession of a legal weapon, $8,000. Possession of a firearm during the commission of a crime, $500. Possession of a firearm during the commission of a crime, $5,000. And the window tint, $500. So your total bond, sir, is $34,000. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, because you are charged with a felony, sir, if you do not make your bond, your next court date, sir, is going to be May 15th at 8:30 a.m. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions about anything, sir?
No, sir.
All right, so based on the information, sir, that you have provided here this morning, I am going to go ahead and advise you that I'm going to give you a court-appointed lawyer here free of charge. Do you understand that? I'm sorry?
Sir.
All right, do you have any questions of me, Mr. Johnson?
No, sir.
All right, sir, well then that's all I have for you. Good luck to you.
Mr. Johnson. Everything you heard on there, it sounds good like that. It sounds like you going away.
And you are Mr. Jones, is that correct?
Correct.
All right, so Mr. Jones, you are charged with 1 count of criminal trespass, 2 counts of criminal trespass, sir. Now, I've had a chance to review the information here provided to us this morning. Based on the information provided, sir, I am going to release you this morning. That doesn't mean your case is closed, just means you're being released. Do you understand that?
Sir.
Now, based on what you've also provided me this morning, I am going to go ahead and provide you a court-appointed lawyer. And so you will have a lawyer free of charge on your case. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, sir, that's all I have for you today. So you will be released later today. I have appointed you a lawyer. I've advised you again that your case isn't over. So please make sure we have your best address. That your notice is sent to that address. Do you understand?
Sir.
All right, good luck to you, sir. Next up should be Anwar Myers, and then Mr. Ogbo, and then James Presley. All right, are you Mr. Myers?
Yes, sir, I am.
Mr. Myers, you are charged with possession of a firearm during the commission of a crime, possession of a legal weapon, and then 2 counts of possession of a controlled substance as a felony. So the possession of a firearm during the commission carries a bond of $500. The illegal weapon, $8,000. The possession of a controlled substance, the first one carries a bond of $10,000. The second one, sir, carries also a bond of $10,000. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir, I do.
And so your total bond, sir, is $33,000. Do you understand that?
Sir.
All right. So now, based on the information you provided here, sir, are you working right now?
No, sir, I'm not.
Okay. So based on that, sir, I am going to go ahead and give you a lawyer free of charge. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right, sir. Now, the last thing I just need to tell you is because you are charged with felony, sir, you will have what is called a preliminary hearing date. So if you fail to make your bond, sir, your next court date is going to be May 15th, and that's going to be at 8:30 a.m., and that's going to be via Zoom, okay? So again, your bond is $34,000. Your next court date will be May 15th 8:30 a.m., and that's gonna be via Zoom, okay?
Sir, thank you.
Yes, sir. Do you have any questions of me?
Also, you did have a blessed one. I thank you.
You too.
Everything you just heard on there, you got sound like get it white box.
All right, next up should be Mr. Ogbo and then Mr. Presley.
My name.
All right. Are you Mr. Ogbo? Is that how you pronounce it?
Almost, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, sir, you are charged with 1 count of possession of a firearm in the commission of a crime, possession of a legal weapon, and felony possession of drugs, 2 counts. The bond, oh, excuse me, I apologize, Mr. Ogbo, I'm on the wrong one. I'm sorry, I don't want to scare you like that. Let me move off
Sir.
that screen.
What you got going on? I thought I had deterrence a threat.
No, I got a couple of different things going on here. Give me 1 second on yours.
Yes, sir.
All right, here we go. So, Mr. Ogbo, you got 1 count of terroristic threat, sir. It's charged as of right now as a misdemeanor. Your bond amount, sir.
Felony, sir.
I'm sorry.
They told me it was a felony, sir.
It will be charged. That's why I said this as a moment. As of today, it is as a misdemeanor, but it will be later. I can tell you almost as a fact, it will become a felony later on. Do you understand?
How, sir, what?
Because it's based on the allegation. Allegation, I'm not saying it's true, but the allegation is that you threatened to kill someone. Now, again, don't comment. I'm just telling you what it says, okay? Now, my question to you is this, sir. Are you currently working?
No, sir, I'm disabled.
Okay, so I am going to appoint you a lawyer free of charge this morning, okay?
Can I get an arm bond, sir?
No, sir, you cannot. But I need you to understand your bond is $5,000, and you are also to stay away from the address where this is supposed to have happened at 865 Battle Creek Road. Do you understand?
The library?
Yes, sir. You're not allowed to go back there while your case is still pending.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, the last thing I need to ask you, Mr. Ogbo, because this is a misdemeanor right now, you have the right to a preliminary hearing, sir, or you have the right to waive your preliminary hearing. Which would you like to do? Have your hearing or waive it?
I will have my hearing, sir.
All right. So your next hearing date, sir, is going to be, if you don't make your bond, will be May 14th, and that will be at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Again, that'll be May. I'm sorry?
So how will my bond be with a bond with a
The bonding company?
Sir,
It will be about $750.
$750?
Yes, sir. That's approximately.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So one more question. If my charge get moved to felony, would I have to pay more?
No. They would just change it over to a felony for you. You wouldn't have to pay again.
Okay, thank you very much, sir.
Yes, sir. Next up should be Mr. Presley and then Mr. Rickerson.
So everything you heard on there, you got sound.
How you doing, sir?
Morning. Are you Mr. Presley?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Presley, you are charged here with 1 count of theft by taking, sir. Now, I had a chance to. Give me 1 second here, Mr. Presley. Yes, I had a chance to look at the information you provided to us this morning, Mr. Presley, and based on what you provided, sir, I am going to go ahead and release you this morning. So you will be released. Doesn't mean your case is closed, just means you'll be allowed to go home while this is pending. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, based on the information you provided, you do not qualify for a court-appointed lawyer. And so what that means, sir, is if you would like a lawyer on your case, you will have to obtain one yourself. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, the only other thing I need to let you know, sir, is although you are being released, you will have a special condition, and that means you are not to return that 4605 Beavers Drive where this was alleged to have happened, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you have any questions of me, sir?
No, sir.
All right, sir. Good luck to you.
Appreciate it.
All right. Should be Mr. Rickerson, Rivera, and then Watt.
If you want something right here, it's way over the lead hand from the yes.
All right. Give me 1 second, Mr. Rickerson.
Sir.
You sound everything heard on there, which comes out with you know what?
All right, so Mr. Rickerson, you are charged with one count of possession with intent to distribute, one count of possession of drug-related objects, one count of violation of a Georgia Controlled Substances Act, two of which are felonies. The last is a misdemeanor. The possession with intent carries a bond of $10,000. The drug-related objects, a bond of $500, and the violation of a Georgia Controlled Substances Act carries a bond of $10,000 as well. So your total bond, sir, is going to be $20,500. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, so now, because you are charged with felony, sir, you understand, if you don't make your bond, your next court date is going to be May 15th, and it's going to be at 8:30 a.m., and that's going to be via Zoom. Again, that's May 15th, 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Do you understand?
Sir.
Now, understand that you are working right now. How much are you making per month?
I didn't start my new job yet, but I was currently working as a glazer and I was making around, what? $2,000 a month, 25.
Okay. Okay. Based on that, sir, I am going to go ahead and I'll appoint you a court-appointed lawyer here this morning, sir. You will get a lawyer free of charge to help you on your case. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All right, good luck to you.
All right, appreciate it.
Yes, sir. All right, so it should be Mr. Rivera and then Mr. Watts. All right, are you Mr. Rivera?
I am, Your Honor.
Good morning, sir. You are charged with one count of driving with a suspended license, sir. Based on the information that you provided here this morning, sir, I am going to go ahead and release you this morning. Now, again, let me remind you, like I've said before to the other folks in front of you, that does not mean that your case is over. It is still pending. So please make sure upon your being released later today that we have the most recent address for you so that you'll get your new court date, okay? Based on what else, also other information you provided, sir, I am going to give you a lawyer free of charge. And so you will have a lawyer contact you to discuss their case with you, okay?
And when you say release today, is there like a specific time or?
No, sir, that's going to be up to the jail how quickly you get out.
Understood. All right, thank you, sir.
All right, good luck to you.
Thank you.
All right, next, lastly should be Mr. Watts.
Thomas.
All right, are you Mr. Watts?
No, this is Thomas.
Oh, okay. So they took us off. All right. So, Mr. Thomas, you are charged with one count of simple assault, one count of terroristic threat, sir. The simple assault carries a bond, the simple assault carries a bond here, sir, $3,500. Now, the terroristic threat, sir, I am unable to give you a bond on this morning because as I understand it, you are currently on probation, felony probation out of Twiggs County. Do you understand that?
Excuse me, I'm on a misdemeanor probation out there. I just took probation in Fulton County when I just came here. I ain't been out here.
So what I have right now is showing otherwise. If it turns out that that is wrong, then they will correct that. But right now, I'm denying you bond based on that. It says here you're making about $4,000 a month.
That's when I was out. So I don't got that job right now. I don't got no job right now. That's when I was out.
Okay. So right now, based on what you put down, I'm gonna have to deny. I'm not gonna be able to appoint you a court-appointed lawyer though. So I'm gonna give you 2 new court dates, sir. If that changes, they'll give you a lawyer later. But based on what you told me here, you're charged with 2 counts, the felony as well as the misdemeanor. You got a misdemeanor, simple assault, felony terroristic threat. The simple assault is a bond of $3,500. The terroristic threat, I am not giving you bond this morning. Your new court dates are going to be May 15th for your preliminary hearing and May 17th for your bond hearing. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
All right, good luck to you, sir. All right, what's your name, sir?
John Watts.
John Watts? Okay. All right, so Mr. Watts, you are charged with 1 count of false reporting of a crime, sir. False reporting of a crime. Your bond amount is $1,500. Do you understand that, sir? Do you understand, Mr. Watts?
Yes.
Okay, about how much are you making per month, sir?
Well, I'm kind of, I haven't been working lately.
Okay, okay, no problem. I am based on that, I am gonna go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed lawyer, so you'll get a lawyer free of charge. Now, let me ask you, because you're charged with a misdemeanor, you have the right to a preliminary hearing, or you have a right to waive your hearing. Would you like to have your hearing, sir, or waive your hearing?
I can't make I don't know how would I decide that? I don't know.
It's based on whether you want to go forward faster to the prosecutor, or whether you want to have a hearing where you, the judge, the lawyer, are all present to go over your case and determine if there's enough evidence to go forward.
Okay.
Why don't I do this? Just to protect you, I'm gonna go ahead and set that date as May 14th, 8:30 a.m. via Zoom for you, just to protect you. 'Cause I don't want you to make a decision that you later regret, okay?
All right, thank you.
All right, sir. So I've gone ahead, set that hearing date as May 14th. Your bond is $1,500. Remember though, if you make that bond and you get out and you're released before May 14th, then you don't have to go to court that day, okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
All right.
That was legal value, yes,
All right, that's it, you know.
All right, so we
All right. All right. Well, thank you so much.
All right, have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.